Okay, I'm going to mute everybody and start on the topic. Let me share a bridge table with you. I'm going to talk about developing tricks through length, which is kind of an obvious thing, but it's one of those early things that we have to deal with. And part of making your plan when you're developing tricks through length is planning how many cards are in the opponent's hands and how they're going to divide between the two players. And what you'll find, I mean, there are a lot of corollaries to doing this, which is counting the opponent's cards. And if you, as opposed to counting them 1, 2, 3, 4 at a time, if you think about how they're divided and then watch them to follow suit or not, then it's a much lower effort way of counting the opponent's cards. But the first thing to remember is how are they likely to be divided? And to be honest, the actual statistical numbers don't matter as much as long as you know what is more likely than another. And that was a bit of a revelation to me. There's no need to memorize that a 4-4 division is 40% likely, and so on. But let's just look at some divisions, and there is a little bridge aphorism to help you remember. When you're missing an an odd number of cards, they will divide as evenly as possible. In this instance, I have 10 hearts and the opponents have 3. We can expect them to be divided 2 on one side and 1 on the other. Lower percentage of the time, they'll be 3-0. There'll be all three on one side and 1 on the other. If we have 9 cards in a suit, the opponents have 4, and an even number of cards tend to divide slightly unevenly. So we can plan for these cards to be divided 3 and 1. You'll have 3 on one side, 1 on the other. And, that doesn't mean that they're not necessarily 2 and 2, because they are, but more often they're 3 and 1. And if they're divided like this, then we have to plan to lose a card. If we have 8 cards, then we're all sort of familiar with the fact that an odd number of cards tends to divide as evenly as possible, and we can expect them to be 3-2. But there are other ways they could be divided: 4-1 and 5-0. 5-0 is down in the single digits percentage-wise, but 4-1 is fairly common. 3-2 is greater than 50% of the time, and that's our friend. It's always great when the opponent's cards divide 3-2. I'm going to show how we use this in a moment. And if you have 7 cards in a suit, it's still a long suit. You still have more cards than the opponents do. But you're missing 6 cards, and you can see you expect them to be divided 4 and 2. An even number of cards divides slightly unevenly. So that means most of the time, one of the opponents will have just as many cards in the suit as you do. So that's what you plan for. Plan for the most common division, and then if you don't have it, then you can revise your plan at the time. Sometimes we'll find that we only have 6 cards in a suit, and when the opponents have 7, this isn't a bad situation necessarily. 3 on one side and 4 on the other. Let's just keep going. If we only have 5 cards in a suit, they have 8. How do we expect those to be divided? 5 and 3. When would we use something like this? Well, suppose we're defending. We might want to plan out the counting of the hand. We can sort of use the expected division as a rough estimate of where the cards are to start with. And if we had 4 cards in a suit, we expect them to divide 5 and 4. And of course, they have more options than not. So when we're developing tricks through length, what we have to do is plan to lose tricks. And that's always a hard thing for newer players, especially, because you don't want to lose any tricks. But the fact that we have a long suit means that the opponents also have cards in the suit, and perhaps by losing a trick, we can get an extra one of our own. And so here's how our planning goes when we have an 8-card suit. We know that the opponents have 5, and we expect them to be divided 3 and 2. And if they are divided 3 and 2, then we can play 3 tricks in the suit and know that the opponents will be out of the suit. And that's why one of the reasons why we save our high cards, as I mentioned last time, because we know we have to give the lead to the opponents and we need to get it back when they win a trick. So we saved our aces in this heart suit. So when they win a trick and we can win with our heart, then our last spade is a good spade because they don't have any. So we win a trick that way, of course. Go away. Now, when you have a 7-card suit, it may seem hopeless, but it's not. I'm going to rattle off the numbers just because I happen to know them, and they're rough numbers, but statistically, when you're missing 6 cards, they're going to be divided 4-2 about 50% of the time. 40% of the time, they'll divide it 3-3. And if they are, then we can win a trick with our 4th card in the suit, the 13th card in the suit, if you will. When will we know? We'll know after we've played the 3rd trick. One of the advantages of having this particular combination is that we can play it without any danger because we have the top 3 cards. Of course, notice I'm playing the high card from the short side first. That's always important. And now we see that the opponents have not followed suit on the 3rd trick. So our 5 is not good. But in this hand, if I were to, divide the cards 3-3, then it's a matter of watching how the opponents divide and paying attention to how they follow suit. The time when this will trip you up is when you notice that one of your opponents discarded a spade earlier in the hand, and then you have to take that into account. That's an advanced thing. That's an attention thing. When you're playing, if you save this suit to the end and you were rattling off some other long suit, just paying attention to noticing that, hey, they discarded a spade, that your chances are better for getting this 4th spade if you save it to the end. With a suit like this, you have 8 cards, and again, you have to lose 1 trick. That's the plan. We have to lose 1 trick in order to enjoy the suit, but we can actually develop 4 tricks in the suit this way by letting the opponents win 1. Now, I put this ace of hearts in the dummy for a good reason, because I know I'm going to have to lose this 3rd spade, and I really need a way to get back to these 2 spades. If I don't have this ace, they're stranded. And I'm going to talk about that right now. Let's notice that in this suit, I've got 8 cards in the diamonds. That's a great suit. And that could mean that we could win 4 tricks. I'll have to lose 1 in order to enjoy them all. But if I play it by winning the first 2 and losing the 3rd one, I'm going to be in trouble. Here's what's going to happen. I'll take my ace and king, and I'll lose the 3rd diamond. As expected, the opponents have 3, and theirs is higher than mine at this point. So what are they going to come back with? A spade, of course. I can win it here in my hand, but I've got no diamonds. And I've got these 2 good diamonds. They're winners, and no way to get to them. You can actually deal with that, though. The fact that you have to lose a trick, it doesn't matter whether you lose it first or you lose it 3rd. You don't have to win the first 2 tricks. It looks funny when you do it the first time, and after a while it becomes something that you can kind of rely on. It's called ducking a trick. Duck the first trick. Let them have it. Now they're going to lead back in some other suit, this one where I've got the ace here, the spades. And now, as long as the opponent's cards divide 3-2, I'm going to win the last 4 diamond tricks. This won't always work, of course, because the opponent's cards aren't always 3-2. But if they are 3-2, which is 2/3 of the times, all right. And suddenly now I'm winning 4 diamond tricks. And I didn't have an entry to get there. Let's see. Let's do another example of this, because this is a good technique. And in this case, for instance, the ace and the king are on opposite sides of the board, but that doesn't matter. We'll just make it a point to lose the first diamond. And, you know, if I had an ace or a king in the dummy here, I wouldn't have to do this. I would have a way to get back to the dummy to win these tricks. Now you have to be careful how you play this one, because you have to play the high card from the short side. This is the short side. This is the long side. If I were to do it this way, I'd be in real trouble, because now I'm going to be stranding these diamonds in the dummy. Let's look at another example here. In this case, we have, again, 8 cards in this suit. We only have 2 in our hand. So we have to be careful how we play it. We have to lose the first diamond trick. It feels really weird giving them a diamond with the 10 when we've got the ace king. But notice how now, as long as the opponent's diamonds are 3-2, I get to win the rest of the tricks. Now, this is where we hold our breath and we watch for them to both follow suit on the second diamond trick. And when they do, we know that the rest of our diamonds are good. I didn't have to count the diamonds specifically. I just watch for them whether they're following suit or not. In this combination, this one's kind of fun. Notice that our only high card is the ace, but we've got an 8-card suit. Can we take advantage of that? Certainly we can. We have to lose 2 tricks in the process of developing the suit. Give them one, and that's why I put the ace, king, queen of spades here in my hand. So I got plenty of entries back to my hand, but no entry to the dummy. Give them another diamond. I don't want it. You take it. Make them take their diamonds. Notice that, and they all followed suit on the second trick. That tells me the rest of my diamonds are good. So now I win the king in my hand, and I get the rest of the diamonds. There follows the king. I love seeing the king fall off with his head, and I've got the rest of the diamonds. Let's see. One last example that's kind of interesting. In this case, it's the diamond suit again that I'm looking at. I don't have 8 now. I have 7. But this is still a possibility where you have hope. If you badly need one trick that you don't have, you might be able to use this long suit. But with no entries to the dummy, you have to be careful how you play it. So once again, I'm going to assume the unlikely case, because I have to have it in order to make this contract. I'm going to assume that the diamonds are 3-3. 3 on one side and 3 on the other. Let's peek and see. No, I'm not going to peek. Let's just play them. Okay, we're going to duck a diamond. I'm giving them one because I have the ace king. They're going to come back with their spade. I'm going to win the ace of spades. Now I have to play high card from the short side very carefully. All right, I know they're at least 4-2, but I still don't know about the last card division. There's a diamond. And there's a diamond. Yay, my 7 won a trick. So if you can pay attention that way, developing tricks through length, then you can make lots of extra tricks. That's all I've got for this morning. And if anybody has questions, go ahead and unmute. I'll be here for a few minutes. We've got a game starting in 15 minutes. Good luck and have fun in the game.